Today on Dr. Phil.
My mom fakes multiple personality disorder.
My disorder is real.
Is it mental illness?
I told you it wasn't going to be a dog and pony show.
I assume I'm talking to Emmeline.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
An excuse for bad behavior?
You've been blackout drunk while babysitting. If I was interviewing a nanny, you would not be on the top of the list.
Or something else?
Let me tell you guys what I think is going on here. All right, I want you to take a listen to this voicemail from a mother to her daughter.
Just so you know, I'm not as stupid as you think I am because I've been networking. And guess what? People on your reference list aren't going to be on your reference list for very long. So take that, you little...
Well, Laura says her mother, Judy, left this voicemail in a drunken rage. Now, even though Judy admits the call technically came from her phone and sounds like her, she just insists it isn't me. Well, then who is it? Judy says it's Emmeline, one of her two other personalities. Judy's husband of 33 years, Brian, supports his wife's belief, but their daughters, Laura and Heather, say they're not so sure, and they suspect their mother is faking a multiple personality diagnosis to escape responsibility for a lifetime of outrageous behaviors that includes living on the streets for 6 months, flying across the country without telling anyone in the family. Take a look.
Having multiple personality disorder is a constant chatter in my head. Sometimes it gets so loud, it's a roar in my head. I have two dominant personalities. Carrie, she's a quiet one that just doesn't want any yelling, doesn't want screaming, just wants the chaos to stop.
Carrie's just kind of a wild teenage personality. She's fun-loving.
Emmeline is another part of my mind that does not like my husband. She doesn't like the way my children treat me, and she lashes out at that.
You never knew what was going to happen next.
It goes from nice and sweet to anger.
Emmeline's behavior is such that I just want to get away from it. I feel like I'm throwing Emmeline under the bus. Okay, I got a relationship with her too. She's part of my wife, Judy.
Emmeline's always around, always lurking. She's closer than you think. I can hear her in my head saying, he's setting you up. Emmeline has done some horrible things.
One time, when Judy spiraled out of control, she left me for another man. She was smoking crack. Her alters were in control. Judy was gone for probably about 3 or 4 months.
Sometimes I have no hope that it will ever go. It's just so frustrating. It's just so hard.
There have been times where I just felt like throwing my hands up in the air and saying, I'm done.
Well, Judy says that Emmeline and Carrie are real, and she's not making them up. But Laura and Heather feel their mother is using these alters, as they're called, to cover up the real issue, which is a major drinking problem.
I feel like my mom fakes multiple personality disorder. It's her scapegoat.
My disorder is real. It happens to me. I can't stop it.
If it's legitimately true and she has multiple personality disorder, she needs to be locked up somewhere because she's a danger to society.
I don't think my mom struggles with multiple personality disorder. I do believe she struggles with alcohol abuse.
I drink to self-medicate because I have my mental health issues. I have a lot of chatter in my head, and one of the reasons I drink is to tone that down. When I drink, things get out of control, way out of control.
What my mom does is buy a big, huge gallon of wine, and she will drink all of it in under 30 minutes. My mom drinks to the point where she just passes out.
When Judy drinks, Emmeline takes over. And Emmeline will drink and drink and drink.
There are days where I remember what happened, and then there are days that I don't remember.
I head for the hills when my mom's drinking because I don't want to deal with it. I've cut all contact with my mom.
I stopped talking to my mom 4 months ago, and I was afraid of what she was going to do next.
They had enough of the drama and the chaos. This is all just so upsetting.
I just want to be able to have my daughters back in my life. I feel like somebody's taken my heart, just ripped it out.
Okay, I just want to jump right in this because I have so much that I want to cover today. You believe that you suffer from a mental illness, multiple personality disorder, which is currently referred to as dissociative identity disorder, and you feel like you have that.
Yes, sir. I do.
So on the one hand, you feel like it's not you, Judy, that necessarily is offensive to their sensibilities, but instead an alter you have, Emmeline. Is that accurate, what I just said?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And I'm not trying to be smart-aleck about this at all, but you need to tell me who I'm talking to right now.
Judy.
Okay, and how will I know that? How will I know if Emmeline decides to take over this conversation?
I hope that she won't, but if she does, she's aggressive. She's more demonstrative than I am.
How did she feel about you coming here?
She's in agreement with me coming here.
She is?
Yes.
Because I thought she had said that this was not good, that this wasn't going to be a good experience for you.
That was because Laura had a conversation with me on the phone and had told me that you guys were setting me up and that it was going to be a humiliating experience for us.
You told her that this was a setup and she was going to be humiliated.
I did say that.
What did you think about her coming in, about your mother coming in?
I was excited, and I don't know, I guess I kind of just felt that the opportunity was here and that we needed to take it.
You actually wrote the letter, right?
Yes, sir.
What's your goal?
My goal is to bring unity to my family.
And it's fallen apart at this point. You two question whether she's being genuine or just using this as a dodge,
Very much so.
Correct.
right? Why do you think she's using it as a dodge?
It's just really when she does something that has just gone completely overboard, all of a sudden she has multiple personality disorder again. So I don't buy it.
It's just handy.
It's handy. It's a convenient
The devil
way
made
to,
me do it,
Exactly.
but in this case, the devil is Emmeline.
Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing of it, by the way.
What?
Emmeline. I have no idea who that is.
You have no idea who that is?
Never heard that. Or Carrie, was that what I saw on the TV? Never heard of
Right.
that person either.
Okay.
Till right now, today.
So she doesn't tell you a whole lot about it.
No, because it only exists when she wants it to.
I can't trust my mom around my kids. It scares me to think of what could happen.
I know my mom has the potential to be dangerous.
Laura says I'm dangerous? How am I dangerous?
And later, can I talk to Emmeline?
What do you want to know, Dr. Phil?
I do not want my mom around my daughter.
I can't trust my mom around my kids. It scares me to think of what could happen if I were to leave my kids with my mother. I mean, I can't put them in what I would consider potentially be harm's way.
The reason Heather won't let me see my grandchildren, to quote her, is because she's seen too many Dr. Phils to trust me with my grandchildren.
The story captivated the nation and broke hearts. Deborah Dennison suffered from severe mental illness. Her behavior was so erratic, she was forbidden to be alone with her own grandchildren.
I mean, if Heather wants to go there with me, I'll go there with her and Dr. Phil in a room off camera.
I know my mom has the potential to be dangerous.
Laura says I'm dangerous? How am I dangerous?
Once I drove right over to get my daughter, whom she was watching. She was drunk, passed out, laying in the floor, and my little daughter's just year-old teeter-tottering around the apartment. I couldn't believe it.
Since my wife is not allowed to see my grandchildren, out of respect for her, I have chosen not to see my grandchildren as well. I have the most beautiful grandchildren in the world. They mean everything to me.
I'd rather be dead than go the rest of my life without seeing my grandkids. It's just not fair. It's not right. I'm not dangerous.
You feel like she should not have access to the grandchildren because...
You guys want me to believe something as crazy as multiple personality disorder, but then you just want me to feel comfortable with letting you stay with my kids. How do I know that you're not going to jump on an airplane with my kids or say I'd say something that, triggered and you're going to do something with my kids? If you don't have, I understand, Dad, you say Judy would never do that, but how am I guaranteed that I always have Judy when she's alone with my kids?
How do you answer that?
I raised them and I had multiple personality disorder.
That was real normal. I don't want my kids to know what it's like to go in and out of a hospital, to visit your mother behind a locked ward. I don't want them to have to go see Mama.
Do you know why I did that? I put myself in a hospital because I did not know whether I had the potential to hurt you or not. And I needed to find out if I did. To find out what was wrong with me.
Exactly. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want them to have that experience at all.
Okay, well, they said they had not heard details about these alters that you have.
Right.
And if you want them to understand this,
Right.
I want to educate them some.
I did not purposely tell them about this when they were younger because I didn't want them to go out into a neighborhood and say, my mom has multiple personality disorder, so then that they would get teased about it.
Okay, well, we're all adults now, and this is a really big neighborhood. So it's time to just get it out there, right?
Yes.
You agree with that?
I do.
Okay, so Emmeline, and I think this is what you've told us, is in her 40s, is a smoker, is physically violent, is threatening, uses profanity, left-handed,
Yes.
street smart, amoral, manipulative, aggressive, and protective.
Yes.
And then there's another alter, Carrie, that you say is a teenager and is an integration of all of the past teen personalities, because there have been, I think, at one point, 20 identified personalities.
At one point there was, yes.
Okay. But with progress, a lot of this has been kind of reintegrated back into just yourself, Judy, then Emmeline and Carrie. And then Carrie is very childlike, cries easily, seeks adult attention, avoids conflict, can assume a fetal position when stressed, and sucks her thumb.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, now as I was going through that, you became agitated and a bit emotional. Tell me what's going on.
I just feel very vulnerable right now.
You feel at risk? In what way?
Putting a lot on the line here.
Do you believe that I'm taking this seriously?
Yes, sir. I do.
Do you think I know what I'm doing?
Yes, sir. I do.
You know she's an alcoholic. Do you buy her alcohol?
I have, yes.
What the hell are you thinking? And later, I assume I'm talking to Emmeline.
What do you want to know?
Why do you need to exist?
To keep Judy from killing herself.
I know that one of my wife's alter, Carrie, has made the decision to drink. I have partied with Carrie. She's fun. We'd go to the bar, we'd do karaoke, I'd sing to her, we'd dance. In the back of my mind, I knew I was having fun with one of my wife's alters. It wasn't Judy. I consciously knew that, but I took advantage of it. It was great for the moment. but that always has repercussions.
Well, Judy claims that she was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, more commonly known as multiple personality disorder or split personality. But she said she burned her diagnostic papers in her stove because she was just sick of looking at them. Now, while Judy's husband, Brian, says he supports his wife, his daughters, Heather and Laura, say they don't believe their mom and will not let her anywhere near their children until they know what is really wrong with her. Do you believe that you're not dangerous?
I'm not dangerous.
But
Laura, how many times since,
I'd like to hear what Dr. Phil has to say.
how many times since Laura, how many times since Georgia was a year old have you left Georgia with me? How many times since?
Dr. Phil,
How many times since?
what?
do you want me to answer a question?
Yeah, I know how to do an interview, and
Okay, all
if I get out of control, I'll come right to you.
Okay.
But I think she's asked you a legitimate question. I'd like to hear the
How
answer.
many times since?
Several.
I'm going to ask that you two have an open mind to some of the things I'm going to say,
Okay.
because I hear you making your sarcastic marks.
I'll stop.
And you could fill this room with what you don't know about what's wrong with your mother, and until you do, I think I would kind of do a lot of listening. They feel like you're not stable. I feel like the best predictor of future behavior is relevant past behavior. I know that to be true. In psychology, we can give you every test in the world, or we can take a really good history, and if somebody's got a pattern in the past, it predicts a pattern in the future. And so I've done a lot of looking at your patterns, and you've had multiple suicide attempts, right?
Correct.
7 that I count. I mean, that's the ones we know about.
Correct.
There are probably more. You've been to rehab 3 times, but yet you're still drinking.
Yes.
You've had 10 psychiatric placements, and you've had 15 traffic violations. And traffic violations are not like felonies, I understand, but several of these were for reckless driving. And so to me, if I was like interviewing a nanny to take care of my now grandchildren, and this was on your resume, you would not be on the top of the list. So I understand why you would be concerned about that. And you know that she has mental health problems, right?
Yes, sir.
Forget the labels for a minute. You know she has problems.
Yes, sir.
You know she has a drinking problem.
Yes, sir.
You know she self-medicates
Yes, sir.
with alcohol, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you buy her alcohol?
I have, yes.
What the hell are you thinking?
That's part of my
what do you-
problem. That's part of my problem, Dr. Phil.
Well, no.
That's part of what I need to own.
You know she's an alcoholic. You know she has blackout drunk periods, and you buy her alcohol. Do you do it to avoid conflict?
Yes, sir.
I
have
mean,
done
just
it.
be honest. We gotta put it all out on
I'm
the
being
table
honest
here.
with you. I have done it to avoid conflict, to shut her down for the night, to not deal with things. Yes, sir. I have done that.
Do you bully him at times?
Yes, sir.
Do you bully him as Judy, or do you bully him as Emmeline?
As am I.
Can I talk to Emmeline?
Yes, sir. What the do you want to know, Dr. Phil?
I assume I'm talking to Emmeline. Can I talk to Emmeline?
Yes, sir.
I want to talk to Emmeline. I want to know what her thinking is about this.
She doesn't like him.
Well, you're describing her. I want to talk to her. She doesn't want to.
That's not gonna happen.
I'm sorry?
It's not gonna happen.
That's okay. I mean, if somebody's involved, I want to talk to them. And if she doesn't have the willingness or the guts to step up and talk about it, okay. I get it. But she bullies him, right?
She's mean to Dad all the time.
Speak up if you want.
You just need to shut okay, and leave me alone.
Oh, God, here we go.
All right? You just need to shut up, leave me alone.
I'll let you deal with it.
Okay,
I told you when we came here, I was not a dog and pony show. And it wasn't going to be a dog and pony show. I told you that.
okay, now talk to me.
What do you want to know, Dr. Phil?
I assume I'm talking to Emmeline.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
I want to know why you bully him into doing things that are not in the best interest of your health, mentally, physically, familially, socially, functionally, why you bully this man into doing what you want him to do.
Because he doesn't listen to Judy. He doesn't take care of her. He doesn't respect her.
Do you?
Probably not.
Probably not. Judy says she'll take one drink and you finish the bottle. True or false?
True.
She's telling the truth. So you're criticizing him for not taking care of Judy and you don't either. True? So maybe you need to clean your act up. Possible?
Possible.
I mean, I'm just asking.
Possible? Possible, yes.
I'm not saying it's true, I'm just saying it's possible.
Possible. Anything's possible. Everything's possible.
Do you want to get better?
We all want to get better.
Do you want to be happy?
We all want to be happy.
Define happy for you.
For me?
Yeah.
Happy for me would be that I didn't have to exist anymore.
What is your necessity? Why do you need to exist?
keep Judy from killing herself.
Why do you think she would do that?
Because she's angry.
How about you? You angry?
Angry all the time.
Well, you have that in common.
Addict.
You an alcoholic?
Yes.
We're going to take a break. I'm going to talk about what I think's going on here, what I think just happened. We're going to find out why Laura says she was forced to take her own mother to court when we come back.
I had to terminate my mother. She left me many threatening voicemails.
I'm not telling to stop supporting you.
Judy would never make threats like that. Emmeline was the one that was making the threats.
The doctor that diagnosed my mom was probably a quack doctor. She will do everything there is to convince everyone around her, family members, friends. She had some sort of illness. My mom will go from doctor to doctor to doctor until somebody agrees with her.
Well, Judy has been living with multiple personalities for most of her life, according to her. This is how she experiences her existence. Her two daughters, Laura and Heather, say they wonder if their mom is faking this diagnosis to escape responsibility for her unpredictable behavior, such as leaving their father for 6 months to live on the streets as another personality named Emmeline. Now, this past May, Laura says she was forced to take her mom to court after Judy contacted Laura's clients to try to destroy her business. Now, Judy says, okay, the calls took place, but she says it was not her. It was her alter, Emmeline. Take a look.
I own my own business. My mom worked for me as an administrative assistant.
In the evening, if I wanted to have a drink, that was my choice.
She would come into work and I would sense she was hungover.
My occasional glass of wine escalated to 2 bottles of wine a night. Clients complained to Laura that I sounded intoxicated on the phone. Laura got fed up with not being able to control me.
I had to terminate my mother.
I feel betrayed by her. I feel like she slapped me in my face.
She left me many threatening voicemails.
People on your reference list aren't going to be on your reference list for very long. You little.
I had to take my mom to court, and a judge did grant an injunction in my favor to prohibit her from continuing to attempt to destroy my business.
I don't know about the messages because I think Emmeline left the messages.
Judy would never make threats like that. Emmeline was the one that was making the threats.
I think it's absurd.
Okay. You agree that what happened was like really bad, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me who I'm talking to right now?
Judy.
Okay. Let me tell you guys what I think is going on here. First off, let's get one thing very clear. This woman is not faking. 100% guarantee this woman is not faking. She is not a malingerer. She's not someone that mimics a disorder, mimics a behavior, mimics something in order to escape accountability, get attention, escape culpability, or whatever. She's not someone that makes this up for sympathy or attention. She's not a faker. Now, also, I have to say in the same breath, I don't think she has multiple personalities. I think that that's really good news.
Yeah, no, it's great news.
It's really good news. But I think we all have a range of conduct and behavior, And you ever had like a really bad day?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Where you just wake up and get your bitch on before, I mean, you know,
Yes, we do.
You know, we all have that to some degree, and mental health and mental illness often lives on a continuum. You know, you're kind of moody or like really moody or like just really out of control. We move up and down in terms of our identities, and at times things become so painful that we do what's called dissociate. We like clip off. I mean, oftentimes, for example, when I've talked to rape victims, say, what was your experience during the attack? They say, and I was gone. I dissociated. It was like an out-of-body experience. It was like I wasn't even there. And you often have people detach in that way and get away from what's going on. So number one, I do not believe that this lady is faking or that she is malingering or she is doing this just as a way of being interesting at all. So your judgment of her, in my opinion, is so misguided, I can't even begin to tell you. But then at the same time, I said, I don't think she has multiple personality disorder. I've never, ever seen what I could verify to be a case of genuine split or multiple personalities. There are many therapists who see dozens of them. And there's a real controversy about whether it exists or whether it doesn't. My position is it just doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't really matter because, it's all about labels, and labels are all about insurance reimbursement, frankly. So they force us to assign something to somebody so we can submit it for payment. And I truly believe that in the 80s, Judy went to see a therapist who believed in multiple personality disorder.
I believe that.
In such a way that this became what is called, in my opinion, iatrogenic. And iatrogenic is an illness or disorder that is caused or suggested by a physician, medical examination, or treatment. Like, for example, if I operate on your knee and there's a scar there, that scar is iatrogenic to the surgery. It is caused by the treatment. It's there because of the treatment. Okay, and so if you go see somebody and the way they organize their life, their world, their professional view is to believe in multiple personality, and they see someone that seems to be kind of all over the chart, they go, whoa, you have multiple personalities. And based on that, you went through a whole process of events. Yes. And you organized your reality based on that symbol system that was given to you.
I just feel really nuts, like a million people screaming in my head right now.
Do you ever feel like you have thoughts being taken out of your mind?
I just can't stop it.
I asked you to spend a few hours yesterday with Dr. Charles Sophie. He's a preeminent psychiatrist. He's known the world over. I asked you to go see him and spend a few hours with him. Take a look at this and then we'll talk.
I'm here. I'm about ready to go in and be interviewed by Dr. Sophie. A little nervous about it. I'm hoping that they get whatever information they need to help me.
Dr. Sophie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you for coming. Do you ever hear voices in your head that are not outside voices?
Yes.
Do you ever feel like you have thoughts being taken out of your mind?
I just can't stop it.
What can't you stop?
I just can't stop the thoughts. I don't even know how to describe it to people. And I just feel really nuts even saying, like a million people screaming in my head right now. I got really irritated the other day. I was looking in the mirror and I was like, I don't even know who that is.
Do you know who it is and don't like who it is?
No, I didn't know who it was.
Why didn't you like looking at it then?
Because I was trying to figure out who it was.
Besides irritated that you may not have known who it is, how did it make you feel?
It made me feel sad that I'm at this age in my life and I don't know who I am.
Do you ever say to yourself, I don't want to know who I am?
Yeah, I do.
You got to be honest. You know who you are a lot of the time, but you don't want to know because it's easier to hold on to that stuff.
I just finished the interview with Dr. Sophie. It was emotional for me, and I went to places that I still haven't shared with people, and I don't know that I ever will. I'm reflective about a couple of things that he said to me that, you know, I need to go and meditate on.
Okay, I've added Dr. Sophie to our conversation here and jump in any time. You say, well, now wait a minute. Come on, you say she's not faking, she's not malingering. She just switched personalities right in front of you, Dr. Phil. Isn't that a little melodramatic here? Not really, because you're going to see a professional that's a legitimate licensed professional that has this view. And that's the way he structures it. Now, here's what we do know. We do know you had a lot of trauma in your life early on.
Yes, sir.
You had trauma when you were 7
Yes, sir.
because you were terribly and brutally molested.
Yes, sir.
We know from age 8 to 13 that you were victimized in that way. And let me tell you, this changes who you are. Changes who you are.
Yes, sir.
It changes how you interact and adapt to the world. I think that as a result, you've experienced a tremendous amount of fear in your life. I think you've experienced a tremendous amount of anxiety in your life. And anxiety can get to the point that you dissociate. You check out. And if you've ever driven up on a big wreck on the highway and there are survivors out there in the rain with burning cars around, you see them kind of walking around in shock, kind of zombie-like. They're dissociated. They're in shock. They have a completely different way of going through it. We accommodate to that in different ways. You were told to accommodate that by giving those states a name. And so you did, because you were told by trusted professionals to do that. And you've actually made some progress.
Yes, sir.
Using that symbol system. But I think it's important to understand that there's a lot of fear going on here. There's a lot of anxiety going on. There's depression going on. There's alcohol abuse going on. A lot of things that explain a lot of erratic behavior other than it's a completely different personality. And does that mean she's safe to take care of the kids today? Probably not, because of the lack of stability. But I think if you start putting those things on a to-do list and we get her the right kind of help focused on the right kind of underlying problems, then you do begin to see her get a good deal better in a very short period of time. Yeah. So I'm actually very optimistic about all of this. And listen, I have to tell you, I've not evaluated you. Dr. Sophie has. I arranged for that to happen. I've studied your case. I've got a lot of experience in these things, and I'm just offering you an alternative explanation, an alternative theory of what's going on, and therefore an alternative way to try to get this under control. I think you do suffer from severe and debilitating mental illness, but it's treatable. Now, what does this mean for the family, and what do they need to do? I'm going to talk about that and what's really going on here right after the break. These are things that if you break them down to the individual elements instead of the umbrella diagnosis, to the anxiety, to the depression, to the alcohol abuse, to the borderline personality attributes and aspects, these are all things that can get a good deal better, correct?
A whole lot better, almost totally better. They're well controlled once they're treated. You just have to get treatment and stick to the treatment. And let your family believe in you, but you got to believe in yourself. You will not own yourself. You're terrified.
We're going to help you do that, but what do you guys think about what we're talking about here, what I'm saying?
I think you're hitting the nail right on the head. Just to be honest.
What do you think?
I agree.
If your mother was diagnosed with a brain tumor and as a result began to behave erratically, would you judge her the way you're judging her now?
No.
And what you two need to do is close ranks around this woman, support her in her treatment, and understand she's not doing this on purpose. This is not her way of entertaining herself. She is not a psychopath. She's not a sociopath. She's not a manipulator. She is not someone that is doing this on purpose.
Okay.
And as a result, you guys need to understand the mental illness processes that are ongoing here and love, support, and nurture her through that. That doesn't mean that she gets away with anything. Let's be in this together.
Yeah.
Let's close ranks. And you need to stop enabling this woman. You need to man up and give her what she needs, okay? How has this gone for you today?
Good. Good.
Do you have some hope?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want you to. Because I believe this can get better, and I believe you want to get better. I do believe that. Okay? Fair enough? We can
Fair
work
enough,
on this?
yeah.
Be positive?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Medical Director for the LA County of Children and Family Services, and also a member of our advisory board, Dr. Charles Sophie. We will see you next time. Thanks so much. Thanks, guys.